Welcome to Music with Mrs. Avery.
Hello, students, and welcome back to the North Carolina Symphony virtual experience. I am going to introduce you to the brass family. This week in your music Google Classroom, you have a question assignment. I still labeled the beginning of the question with the title of our assignment, North Carolina Symphony Brass. And I wanted to do this to help keep all of your assignments and questions organized. But what I'm asking from you today is to classify the brass instruments from highest pitched to lowest pitched. Now, the brass family is our smallest family. There are only 4 instruments. So I thought this was a great week to allow you to explore and research the instruments on your own. So you will look towards the bottom of your assignment and you will see that I have attached a link for you, Dallas Symphony Orchestra Instruments. You are going to click on this link and it is going to take you to the page where it lists all of our instruments by instrument family. This is the site that we typically use for our lessons, and this is the first page that we typically start on. So if you scroll down, you will find brass. Now, the brass instruments are all in the brass family because of the way they produce sound. In order to produce sound, the musician must blow and buzz their lips. So the mouthpiece sits on the musician's lips like this. And the player has to pucker up and buzz their lips while blowing air at the same time. It looks like this. And it's easier if you get your lips a little bit wet in order to do that. So try that with me. Put your finger over your lip and let's buzz. Excellent. So when the musician buzzes, that sound travels all the way through the tubing and out the bell. Now, we're just going to look at this first one quick. In order for the musician to change the pitch, they have to use their embouchure, and that is the muscles around their mouth. They will tighten their embouchure in order to make the pitch go higher, and they will loosen their embouchure to make the pitch go lower. So as you can see on the French horn, here's the mouthpiece that sits against the musician's mouth. And when they buzz, that sound travels all through these tubes and out the bell. Now, each brass instrument has what are called valves. And the musician presses down different patterns of those valves, and that also helps change the pitch. But sometimes more than one note has the same pattern that you press down. So in order to change the pitch and make the correct note, the musician has to use their embouchure. So if we are looking back at the list of all the brass instruments, here is what I'd like you to do. You are going to click on each instrument here. Start at the top and go down. Remember, I'm asking you to classify the instruments from highest pitched to lowest pitched. Here's another hint. These instruments are not in the correct order. So you cannot just come here, copy down these 4 instruments and not do any work and just type those instruments in and submit your work. Your answer will be incorrect, and I am going to return it and ask you to try again. So please click on each instrument. So we will again start with the French horn. And here's what I'd like you to do for each instrument. First, I want you to examine what that instrument looks like. Notice all of our brass instruments are made of brass metal. Find the mouthpiece, find the valves, and find the bell. Then you are going to read the 2 short paragraphs that are on the page. They are very short. Now, here's another hint. In the second paragraph, you will find a description of how long the tubing is in the instrument. Remember, the highest pitched instrument is going to be your shortest instrument, and your lowest pitched instrument is going to be your longest instrument. So that second paragraph is going to tell you just how long each instrument is. So pay very close attention. Then after you read those paragraphs, you are going to listen to the instrument, and you will click on the music note and you will listen to the examples it gives you. Now, there might be more than 2. You do not have to listen to all of them. You can decide, but I do suggest at least listening to 2 of the sound clips. So let's look at that one more time. First, you're going to examine the instrument. Then you are going to read the short paragraphs. And then you are going to listen to the sound clips. You may even want to keep a little piece of scrap paper so that you can write out the instrument and just how long it is. So when you go back, you will have all of your information so that you can classify them. Once you have finished doing all those steps, you will click the back button and it will take you back to our list of instruments. And you will follow those same steps for all 4 brass instruments. So you are going to look at the French horn, the trumpet, the trombone, and the tuba. After you have looked at, read, and listened to each of those instruments, you are going to go back into our Music Google Classroom and you are going to answer the question. Classify the brass instruments from highest pitched to lowest pitched. This is where that little scrap piece of paper might come in handy. Remember, highest pitched to lowest pitched is shortest to longest. And you will answer the question over on the right side of your screen where it says your answer. That's where you will type in your answer. Then you can turn your work in. I hope that you enjoy learning about the brass instruments.